Hi, everybody. This is Saad for the Sad Truth. We often hear about the religion morality link, namely the idea that humans derive their moral codes of conduct from religion. I've written about this supposed link on my Psychology Today blog. Of course, as an evolutionist, I can easily offer evolutionary based explanations as to how we would have evolved a moral compass, as is true of other social species. Uh, but one of the implications of this tenuous morality religion link is the idea that atheists, by virtue of their non belief in religion and a guiding deity, are somehow more immoral than as compared to their religious counterparts, precisely because they don't have these religious based moral guidelines. And I've written about this on my Psychology Today blog. I described a study several years ago that looked at the attributions that are made of atheists from the general American populace. And the picture is certainly not a pretty one. Atheists are quite mistrusted. So for today's clip, I'd like to follow up on that idea and look at how atheists are ascribed a greater likelihood of committing truly horrible acts simply by virtue of the fact that they are atheists. And the gentleman who studied this phenomenon is a psychologist by the name of Will Gervais. And what he wanted to do was basically look at truly grotesque and reprehensible acts, whether it be incest or serial murders or animal torture or necrobestiality, having sex with dead animals. And so he would describe individuals who were engaging in these acts and then would try to estimate the likelihood that people would ascribe these acts to atheists or to other identifiable groups. But the way that he did it is actually quite ingenious. So let me step back and explain this a bit. There is a phenomenon in behavioral decision making that was originally uncovered by Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky, known as the conjunction fallacy. So it basically works as follows. So if I were to describe to you an individual and then tell you, do you think that this individual is an accountant, or B, he's an accountant and a soccer player? Well, of course, the axiomatically correct answer is option A, because to be an accountant has a greater probability than to be an accountant and to be a soccer player. And that's why this is known as the conjunction fallacy. Namely, event A is more likely than the conjunction of events A and B. That's simply mathematics. But the reason why people commit this fallacy is because if the description of the individual is somehow more representative of someone who would be an accountant and a soccer player, then people wrongly assume that option B is more probable, even though probabilistically speaking, that can't be true. So now coming back to the study by Gervais, what he basically did is he gave descriptions of individuals. So for example, John is a guy who in his youth used to torture animals, and then later on, as he grew up, he started harming humans and eventually became a serial killer. And now he gives people one of two options. Do you think that John is a teacher, or do you think that John is a teacher and an atheist? And here's where the manipulation happens. For option B, he could say John is a teacher and an atheist, or he could replace atheist by other possible groups: Muslim, Christian, Jew, Hindu, Buddhist, gay, black, white, Asian. And so you could replace the identifiable group in the conjunction in option B and see the likelihood of succumbing to the conjunction fallacy as a function of which group is the one that is included in option B in the conjunction. And it turns out, incredibly, that across a wide assortment of truly grotesque behaviors, people are much more likely to succumb to the conjunction fallacy when the identifiable group that is included in option B is atheists. In other words, somehow it is more representative of atheists to be animal torturers, necrobestial participants, uh, incest uh, proponents. And so it's quite an extraordinary way to demonstrate how people's attributions are biased towards atheists. And what was particularly incredible about the study is that even atheists were more likely to succumb to the fallacy in this particular way. In other words, atheists were more likely to succumb to the conjunction fallacy when the identifiable group that was included in option B was atheists. So we are all apparently susceptible to construe atheists as being somehow more grotesque in their immoral and illegal activities. Quite an astonishing study. I'll be publishing probably tomorrow a Psychology Today article where I exactly discuss this truly brilliant study. So there you go. Stay away from atheists. They're murderers, animal torturers, bestial lovers, and incest fornicators. Cheers. Spread the truth, the sad truth. Ciao.